My name is Serafina Vale. I'm 32 years old, and I work as a freelance designer in Tucson. That means I make designs for people on the computer, and I get paid here and there. Most months, it's enough to get by, but it's not easy. One Saturday morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing on the kitchen counter. It kept making little beeping sounds over and over. I picked it up and saw my family group chat was exploding with messages. My brother Cale, who is 28, had posted a picture. It showed a paper with a signature on it. His caption said that Grandpa's bakery was now his because he sold it. He said he got $450,000 and was putting it into big moves. Everyone in the chat started sending hearts, clapping emojis, and fire emojis. They called him a future millionaire. I stared at my phone, my coffee getting cold in my hand. My fingers shook a little as I typed fast. "You actually read the will?" There was no answer. Then I remembered an email I had opened just 5 minutes earlier. I forwarded it to the chat. The subject line was from our lawyer, Marceline Quaid. It said, "Self-dug grave." Those words made my stomach drop. The signature on the paper's Cale was not the same as Grandpa's will. Not even close. Cale's picture still showed him smiling under a big sold sign. My heart stayed calm, but my brain was Quaid, thinking quickly. Grandpa's bakery wasn't just a shop with flour and ovens. It was the one place he said I really belonged. And now it was gone, turned into money for Cale, who had never helped bake a single loaf. If you've ever watched someone take your family's special thing while everyone cheers them on, leave your story below. Hit subscribe. We're just getting started. Every summer, about 10 years ago, I would drive my old Honda from College straight to Tucson. It was a long drive, 4 hours on the I-10 highway. The air conditioning barely blew any cool air, and the desert stretched endlessly outside the car window. But when I finally reached Speedway Boulevard, a wonderful smell of yeast and cinnamon hit me. That smell made me feel at home instantly. Grandpa's bakery, Vale's Hearth, was on a corner lot. The red bricks were faded from the sun, and the neon sign above the door flickered in the bright morning light. Grandpa Thaddeus would be waiting at the back door, wearing his white apron, waving me inside before the car even stopped. He always started work very early, at 4:30 a.m. "Serafina," he would say, handing me a big, heavy steel bowl. "Measure 6 cups of flour for the sourdough starter." This starter was special. He kept it alive for longer than I had been alive. He showed me how to fold, press, and turn the dough. I learned to feel it change from a messy lump to a smooth ball that was soft and alive. Cale, on the other hand, never came early. He usually wandered in around 11 a.m., messy-haired, phone in hand, complaining about the heat. He would grab a roll off the counter without asking. Grandpa would shake his head but let him. Cale took quick videos for his followers on social media and then disappeared. He talked about selling bread online, shipping nationwide, but he never touched the ovens. After closing, I would pack the bread into boxes for delivery or storage. Aunt Isolde handled the money in a small office off the kitchen. She wore reading glasses on a chain and tapped on a calculator like raindrops falling on a tin roof. She arrived at 8 a.m., coffee in one hand and her ledger in the other. "Morning, kiddo," she said, sliding invoices across the desk. I learned from her how to count receipts, understand the prices of ingredients, and see why it was hard to keep the bakery running when there were fewer customers. One July evening, after the last customer had left, Grandpa called us to the office. The shop smelled like vanilla and freshly baked bread, warm and comforting. He pulled out a yellow legal pad and a pen. "Time to put it in writing," he said. "I want Serafina Vale to get the bakery when I'm gone. No conditions. No splitting it." He signed the paper, dated it, and handed it to Aunt Isolde. She signed below. Then she grabbed her phone and said, "For the record." She propped it on a stack of cookbooks and recorded Grandpa reading the will aloud. He explained why I was getting the bakery. The video lasted 2 minutes. His face filled the screen, apron strings tied tight. Aunt Isolde put the video on a USB drive marked Hearth, and also put a photocopy in an envelope. She locked both in the safe. Cale walked in halfway through, yawning. "What's all this?" Grandpa waved him away. "Family business. Go close up." Cale shrugged, ate a cookie, and left. He never asked about the details. He just assumed the bakery would be his. At dinner, Mom said, "Cale has vision. You focus on your art degree, sweetie." I just tasted yeast on my fingers and stayed quiet. Those summers taught me more than baking. Grandpa told stories while we worked. He told me how he bought the shop with a VA loan, courted Grandma with free eclairs, and survived 2 recessions by trading bread for rent. He let me experiment with recipes that sold out quickly, like rosemary focaccia. Kale only came up with ideas like putting a logo on mugs and then napped in the storage room. Aunt Isolde balanced the books and taught me to spot mistakes before they caused trouble. By August, my arms ached from lifting dough baskets, but I loved the routine. Grandpa gave me the master key one night. "This opens everything," he said. The safe had old deeds, photos, and the envelope with the will. I never opened it then, but trusted everything would be okay. Kale teased me about waking up early and called me dough girl in texts, but Grandpa's nod meant more than any likes on social media. Aunt Isolde filmed casual moments too, me piping cream into profiteroles, Grandpa tasting batter, and even me wiping my floury hands on my apron. She backed everything up to the USB. "One day you'll need proof," she said quietly. I laughed at 22, thinking life was easy. Little did I know that envelope would sit untouched for 10 years. 3 days later, I opened my laptop at a small Tucson coffee shop. The kind with mismatched chairs and baristas yelling orders over indie music. An email from attorney Marceline Quaid was sitting in my inbox. Subject: Urgent Bakery Transfer Review. My heart raced. I clicked on it. Marceline Quaid wrote in simple, clear sentences. "I reviewed the sale documents you sent. The signature doesn't match the original will. Was it scanned last year? This is not a small problem." She attached pictures showing Grandpa's flowing handwriting next to the hurried, tight letters on Kale's papers. They looked different. She suggested freezing the money until it could be checked. I paused, my fingers hovering over the trackpad. Kale had signed those papers. I pulled up the family messenger chat on my phone. Kale had been posting updates all weekend. At 10:15 a.m. Monday, he shared a screenshot of a bank alert showing $450,000 coming in. Caption: "Seed money for the empire." Part of a crypto wallet was visible, and he had already converted half of it to Bitcoin. I took screenshots of everything, saving them like treasure. 12:47 p.m., Kale shared a meme about quitting normal work. 1:30 p.m., he posted a photo of new laptops and other tools. I saved all of it with timestamps. At 2:09 p.m., I saved a voice note of him laughing. "Told you the old man picked right." I renamed it Evidence01. Marceline Quaid handled Grandpa's estate before. Usually it was simple. I called her using the number in her email. "Serafina Vale. Glad you called," she said, calm but serious. "The notary stamp looks off. The emboss pattern is wrong, which is common in rushed fakes. We need the original will for comparison. Kale has access now, get it secured. I'll send a hold letter to the title company." I hung up, feeling a mix of fear and determination. I kept saving Kale's posts. At 3:20 p.m., he bragged about margin trading. He posted that he made $20,000 by 4 p.m., calling it easy money. I copied wallet IDs and saved every story before it disappeared. I needed proof. I needed to protect Grandpa's bakery. The bakery was more than just a place to make bread. It was the heart of our family. Grandpa taught me how to knead dough, feel it change, and shape it into perfect loaves. Aunt Isolde taught me how to manage money, notice small errors, and keep the shop safe. Kale never cared about any of that. He only cared about quick money and social media posts. But I had memories. I had skills. I had proof. I remembered how Grandpa would smile when I experimented with recipes, how he guided my hands, and how the shop smelled of vanilla and cinnamon in the morning. I remembered the summers, the laughter, and the feeling of belonging. Kale didn't have that. He could not take it away completely. Now, with Marceline Quaid's help, I was going to fight. I was going to make sure the bakery stayed safe. I knew it wouldn't be easy, and I knew Kale would be angry. But I had Grandpa's instructions, Aunt Isolde's recordings, the USB drive, and a decade of work. This wasn't just about money. It was about family, love, and the legacy Grandpa had trusted me to protect. Every screenshot, every voice note, every time-stamped post mattered. I was ready. I would not let the bakery slip away. The oven's warmth, the smell of bread, and Grandpa's guiding hands would guide me through what was coming next. Kale may have thought he could take it with a signature, a post, or a laugh, but I had something he didn't. The truth, the proof, and the heart of Vale's hearth. The coffee shop was full of people. Cups clinked, and the sound of keyboards typing filled the air. I sat at a small table by the window, my laptop open. I created a new folder on my computer called Bakery Proof. Inside it, I put emails, 52 screenshots, and 3 voice messages. I even made smaller folders inside it with names like signatures, transfers, and crypto posts. Kale kept sending messages in the chat. He had made a poll for his followers, asking whether people wanted to invest in NFTs or DeFi. Most people, about 80%, picked DeFi. I saved the results carefully. Soon after, Marceline Quaid emailed me again. She attached a bank request form and told me to sign it so we could trace the money. I filled it out and digitally authorized access to Grandpa's old business account. Kale was managing that account. After Grandpa's funeral, Mom always said Kale was good with numbers, and now I could see why. I forwarded the transaction alerts to him. He shared details about outgoing wires to offshore exchanges labeled Growth Capital. Each wire slowly took more money out of Grandpa's account. By 6 o'clock in the evening, my folder had grown to 2 gigabytes. I backed it up to the cloud and turned on two-factor security to make sure no one could hack it. Kale made his final post for the day. It was a sunset photo from a rooftop bar. The caption read, "Living the dream on legacy funds." Comments came in from his high school friends giving high fives and compliments. I took a screenshot of the photo's location. It was tagged in downtown Tucson. Kale didn't say anything about debts or who was buying anything yet. Marceline Quaid replied, confirming she had received all the documents. She said she would send a courier for the physical will if I retrieved it. I thought about the bakery route in my head. It would take 20 minutes to drive across town. Kale now lived just 5 blocks away from me. He had bought a new condo with earnest money. I closed my laptop, paid for my cold latte, and stepped into the warm evening. Everything I had collected, the emails, screenshots, voice notes, was clear and undeniable evidence. That evening, my phone kept buzzing with notifications from the group chat. Kale sent a new message at 7:12 p.m. about Phase 2 of his plan. He wanted to start a food truck business called Veils on Wheels. He said he needed $50,000 from each of 5 partners. He tagged me, Mom, 2 cousins, and a high school friend who was an investor. He even attached a cartoon of a sourdough bread with $signs for eyes. Replies came fast. Cousin Alaric said he could give $20,000. Uncle Corwin wrote, "Smart pivot kid." Kale shared a Google Doc with a business plan. On the first page, it said the starting money was $450,000. There was no mention of any debts or loans. Page 3 showed possible locations across Arizona for the trucks, with colorful branded wraps. Mom sent a voice message at 7:19 p.m. She said Kale was thinking big and that the bakery was Grandpa's dream, but trucks could reach more people. She encouraged me to support my brother, and she added heart emojis at the end. I typed back, "The sale isn't final until the paperwork clears." Kale responded immediately, "Already closed, sis. Title company wired yesterday. Stop raining on the parade." He posted a photo of the first truck chassis in a warehouse. The caption read, "Build starts tomorrow." More people in the chat pledged money. Cousin Aloan promised $10,000. Kale created a Venmo pool link and pinned it to the top of the chat. He also shared a simple contract template, an IOU that didn't require any collateral. People had to send money by Friday. I downloaded the contract and read it carefully. The repayment terms were vague. Kale had signed it as the CEO of Vail Mobile Eats LLC, which he had just registered that morning. Mom commented in the chat, "Proud mama moment." Kale always has the hustle. The conversation in the group kept moving quickly. Kale started talking about menu ideas for the trucks. He wanted to serve gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches and artisan donuts. He had even called suppliers to get bulk deals on flour. Kale said he could use Grandpa's old business contacts to help. One cousin asked about the equity split, the part of the company each person would own. Kale replied that he would hold 51% because he had the vision and would run the business. No one argued. At 9:20 p.m., Mom sent me a private message. It said, "Call me." I ignored it and muted the group chat for a little while. Kale then ran a poll about which city they should start in, Phoenix or Las Vegas. He promised to show mock-ups by morning and teased about turning the food trucks into a full chain, growing from one shop to many locations. At 10:01 p.m., he uploaded a video showing the warehouse space. He talked about Phase 1 with 3 trucks. People commented and cheered. Mom said, "That's my boy." I unmuted the chat and watched it fill up with over 200 messages. At 10:43 p.m., Kale directly messaged me. "Loosen up. Grandpa would want growth, not stagnation," he said. He sent a meme with Grandpa giving a thumbs up. I left it unread. The group chat quickly moved on to logistics. People talked about who would handle permits and insurance. Kale assigned tasks and volunteered to handle branding himself. At 11:11 p.m., Mom shared a throwback photo of Kale at 16 behind the bakery counter. His apron was too big, but he looked happy. Likes poured in. Kale replied, full circle. He explained funding tiers. Bronze for $5,000, gold for $25,000. The pledges already added up to $90,000. At 11:30 p.m., the chat was buzzing with voice notes overlapping. Kale hyped the tax advantages of the LLC. Mom said, contribute or step aside. Family unites. I screenshotted the spreadsheet, showing all the names and amounts of money pledged. At 11:58 p.m., a private notification came from Aunt Isolde. She wrote, got the USB with Grandpa reading the will. Still sealed. Come get it before anyone else does. There were no emojis, no extras, just the facts. I stared at the screen under the bright kitchen light. The group chat kept pinging in the background. Kale was still making deals with digital handshakes. The next morning, Kale called me on FaceTime while I poured cereal. His face filled the screen. Behind him were toolboxes and the new truck chassis under a tarp. Serafina, pick up the emergency, he said. I answered with my cereal bowl in hand. He paced in front of a workbench, his phone shaky. The bank locked everything, he said. Joint account frozen. The title company says hold on the wire. His voice cracked. $450,000 were gone from access. I asked, what did you do? I sent proof to Marceline Quaid. The signatures didn't match. Kale stopped pacing and showed me the banking app on another device. Balance zero. A pending hold notice. Zephira, Kale's wife, appeared behind him, still in her spa scrubs from last night. Kale whispered, tell her. Zephira hesitated, then spoke. I saw the transfer papers. Kale explained. Your name is on the signature line. It's routine. Grandpa used to do this for shipments. Her eyes went to him. I knew it looked wrong, but I assumed the sale had covered it. Kale had also used the money for the condo deposit. He grabbed the phone back. We're screwed. Crypto wallets are tied to the account. Can't move positions. Margin calls incoming. He scrolled through exchange alerts. Red numbers flashed. We had already lost $30,000 overnight. He needed cash fast. I stayed calm. The will named me as the main heir. Kale had transferred money without authority. His face flushed. Mom said, it's fine. Kale switched to speakerphone and called the bank on another line. Hold music played loud. The representative said there was a legal hold from Quaid's office. Reversal pending review. Zephira said the condo deposit was non-refundable. Closing in 2 weeks. If funds freeze permanently, we would lose it. I told Kale to wait and verify. He rushed to contact the buyer. You signed the mortgage application too, I said. Kale hung up the bank line and slammed a wrench on the bench. Fix this, Serafina. Call your lawyer. I shook my head. It was too late. Evidence had already been submitted. Kale had listed the assets aloud. Truck deposit, equipment orders, and marketing budget, all tied to the wired money. Vendors wanted payment up front. Contracts would be void without cash. Zephira pulled Kale aside. Whispered, tell her about the loans. Kale turned to the camera again. The personal line had $20,000 maxed out for promo gear. Interest would start Friday. Partners were asking for wires today. Spreadsheet commitments showed all the money pledged. I asked for specifics. Kale shared his screen. An email from the title company. Funds were in escrow. Release required a court order or mutual agreement. Timestamp, 7:45 a.m. He refreshed crypto positions. Another dip, minus 15%. Stop loss didn't trigger. Zephira took over. We thought the sale cleared everything. Kale had tried a probate shortcut. He said Mom had co-signed the power of attorney. She showed a document on her phone. Her signature was below Kale's, dated after the funeral. I witnessed it but didn't read it carefully. Close enough. Kale paced faster. Buyers were threatening lawsuits. Earnest money might be taken back. Vendors needed invoices paid. Total costs already exceeded the frozen amount. Cash flow was negative. I quietly recorded the call on my phone. Kale rambled about options. Bridge loan, selling the chassis, crowdfunding, partners bailing, household bills, car payments, spa rent, skipping insurance premiums to free cash. He begged to release half of the hold for trucks and promised to repay the rest slowly. The garage door rattled. Grandpa wanted legacy, not lawsuits, added condos our future kids planned, he said. I ended the recording. Kale's screen froze. I emailed the file to Marceline Quaid and labeled it call recording. Kale and Zephira added notes about the condo risk and Mom's signature. Everything was now documented. On Friday afternoon, I got off a short plane back to Tucson. My plane landed at 3:20. Aunt Isolde was waiting for me outside in her silver car. An envelope was already on the passenger seat. We drove straight to Grandpa's bakery, Vale's Hearth. The building was locked, and the windows were covered with paper. Aunt Isolde parked in the alley and used the key to open the back door. Inside, the air smelled a little stale like old bread. The counters were clean, but the ovens were cold. Aunt Isolde took me to the office. She knelt by the safe under the desk. She slowly turned the combination. It was Grandpa's birthday. Click. The safe opened. She lifted the lid and pulled out the envelope. It was yellowed but still fine. Still here, she said, giving it to me. I opened the envelope. Inside was Grandpa's handwritten will, signed by him and witnessed by Aunt Isolde, from 3 years ago. Under the will was a USB drive with a faded but readable label. Aunt Isolde plugged it into the old computer in the corner. A video came up. Grandpa was at the desk wearing his apron. He was reading aloud. To my granddaughter, Serafina Vale, I give full ownership of the bakery and all the recipes. His voice was calm and clear. The timestamp on the video matched the date on the paper. The video was exactly 2 minutes long, ending with Grandpa's signature. Aunt Isolde took the USB drive out, put the will and drive into a plastic sleeve. We had made copies before, but the originals were the most important. She locked the safe and kept a copy of the key. My phone buzzed. It was Marceline Quaid calling. I answered a speaker in Tucson. She asked if I would file the originals today. We drove to her office through midtown traffic. Marceline Quaid looked at the documents on her conference table, notary stamp ready. She checked the video on her laptop. Grandpa's wishes were very clear. She prepared the petition to fix the inheritance records. Pima County Superior Court had noted some problems. Mismatched signatures and an old video testament, but she attached a bank affidavit. She filed it online. A hearing was scheduled next week, unless anyone contested it. Printed copies were stamped as received. Aunt Isolde signed again as a witness with a new date. Marceline Quaid explained what would happen next. The assets would be frozen, buyers notified, and the proceeds returned to the estate account under my name. At 5:15, Cale burst into the office. He didn't say he was coming and looked flushed from running. Zephyra followed, jingling keys. Heard you were here, Zephyra said. Cale ran to me. Stop this. Let me pay back $5,000 a month for 10 years. Keep the trucks running, he said. I held up the will copy. The court decides, I said. Cale explained he owed deposits to vendors, partners had pulled out, and crypto investments lost money. He showed a plan on his phone with no interest. Zephyra nodded. They even said they would downsize the condo plan. Marceline Quaid reminded Cale that any agreement needed court approval. Cale tried another offer. Take half of the bakery and let him rebuild with the rest. He wanted to rename the LLC, get credit on the brand, and give monthly reports. Zephyra supported this. Cale even showed bank alerts, overdraft notices, and loan denials to prove he couldn't pay. On Monday, I looked at the petition signature page. The process was running its course. Cale offered a quarter up front, secured by truck titles. Marceline Quaid noted everything with timestamps. Originals still overruled any offer. Aunt Isolde took the sleeve with the documents. Cale begged her, saying she knew Grandpa wanted growth. She shook her head. Grandpa wanted the bakery safe, not expanded. Security buzzed. It was closing time. Marceline Quaid led Cale and Zephyra out and locked the door behind them. Cale texted from the parking lot with a PDF of his payment plan and desperate emojis. I forwarded it to Marceline Quaid without replying. Aunt Isolde drove me to a hotel near the airport. The originals stayed safe in her glove box overnight. The court clerk emailed confirmation that they received the documents and assigned a case number. 2 months later, I stood inside the bakery by the old oven. The oven was warm from a test batch of sourdough. The court had fixed the inheritance records. All the money went back under my name. The buyer got a refund minus fees. The bakery title was mine again. I held the keys alone in the space Grandpa built. Cale had filed for bankruptcy the week before. All his trucks were sold at auction. His crypto investments were gone. Creditors took the condo deposit and personal loans. He texted once saying he was starting over. I didn't reply. Mom called every day at first, leaving voicemails blaming me. I listened, but I didn't answer. Aunt Isolde shared prayers and memories of Cale, helping customers in the family chat. Cale tried his best, but the business had to be protected. I opened Messenger on the prep table. The chat with my family was still there. Mom's last message said, "Think of Grandpa's memory. along with Kale's auction notice. Aunt Isolde's prayer chain was also there. I selected all 3 conversations and hit remove. They were gone forever. Contacts blocked. Clean cut. The ovens fired up at 4 a.m. the next day. I used Grandpa's original sourdough starter with filtered water and rye flour. I measured 6 cups and folded the dough just like he taught. No shortcuts. The first loaves proofed in linen baskets, scored with Grandpa's lame. Suppliers called back. Contracts were transferred under my name. 2 bakers from the old crew were hired part-time. Payroll was processed through the business account, which now had the returned money. A sign maker arrived mid-morning. Old neon letters were taken down. New letters were installed. Vale's Hearth, EST 1965. The script was simple and warm. The recipes stayed in the locked office drawer. Sourdough-based cinnamon swirl and rosemary focaccia, exactly as Grandpa made them. No changes, no trendy fusions. Customers slowly came in on reopening day. Regulars hugged the counters. Kale came once, cap low, standing outside the window. He watched the line and left. Bankruptcy had erased his debts, but his credit was ruined for 7 years. Zephyr took a second job. The condo plan was gone. Mom mailed a card saying she was proud, but I returned it unopened. Aunt Isolde tried emails with apologies mixed with justifications. I deleted them unread. No paths back. The bakery was full of flour sacks and chilled butter. I baked all night, exhausted like summers in college. Profits were small but honest. No investors. Local orders filled the community board. Wedding cakes were booked months ahead. Grandpa's will hung framed behind the register. The video played silently on a tablet for curious customers. His voice was muted, but his wishes were clear. The bakery's legacy was safe, exactly as Grandpa wanted. I turned the open sign, locked the door at closing, and held the keys. Mine alone.